Welcome, one and all, to High IQ Conversations. Tonight's participant, footballer Emmanuel Acho.
Acho.
Right.
When a black person commits a crime, they go to jail. When a white person commits a crime, they get off.
Emmanuel Acho. Right. Is another fine example of equal opportunities in America. Here we have a man who made it due to his hard work and physical prowess. Unfortunately, Mr. Acho has been sheltered by a balmy circle jerk of fellow athletes and fans for far too long. And they've told him why he's the smartest guy they know. So Acho is under the delusion that he can positive vibe and basic bitch his way into a serious discussion. And for that reason, we must correct him. I know Mr. Acho would do me the same favor if I started yapping on about a sport I didn't understand. Who is Emmanuel Acho? In the first video of his channel, he actually confesses to a crime. And I'm sorry, I have to address this. Emmanuel, goddammit, if you're going to try to dress like a man, then you should put some effort into learning what the hell you're doing. What is this? Huh? Why is this tie clip so high? You don't wear a tie clip to show that you wear a tie clip. You wear it to hold down your tie. So setting it close to the knot is going to leave the rest of the tie free to flap around. There we go. Doesn't that look better? Jesus Christ. What is that tie knot? It's in the name, Emmanuel. It's called a knot, not a loose. There. That's my boy. Isn't he looking handsome? Mwah! Not yet he isn't. Emmanuel, don't move.
Clickety-clow!
Now that's a man's haircut. If only I could do something about that face. Who is Emmanuel Acho? In his own words, he is a history illiterate crime apologist, a racist, and a violent psychopath. Oh, you don't believe me? Let's go through it step by step.
For years, black people have tried peacefully protesting, going back to 1965 and before with the Selma March, and that didn't work.
Oh my God, what are you talking about? I know you didn't pay attention in history class, but did you not watch the movie Selma? Spoiler alert, the protesters win in the end. The president signs the Voting Rights Act of 1965.
But with our commitment, we give birth each day to a new energy that is stronger than our strongest opposition.
The reason your dumbass can vote for somebody who represents your interests and ideals today is because so many people like those in Selma work diligently and walk together against injustice in peaceful protest. Now, tell me again how you honor their sacrifice?
And that didn't work.
Go back to school, you disrespectful pineapple head.
And then in 2016, Colin Kaepernick, he took a knee, and that agenda got moved to a flag, which was never the goal. He just wanted to raise awareness on social injustice. So that didn't work.
Let's talk about Kaepernick. Are you sitting down, Ocho? Kaepernick is even dumber than you. First, let's take a look at the incident that made Kaepernick take a knee. What he calls the execution of Mario Woods. Now, when you hear the word execution, what is it you think of? Personally, I think of somebody who deliberately or methodically kills another person who has surrendered to them or is completely defenseless. Now, let's look at Mario Woods. Mario had a knife he had used to stab a man before his confrontation with police.
Did you know Mario Woods?
No.
Never met him before?
No.
Jacob says he was sitting in a car chilling with two female friends and one of their children here at 3rd and LeConte. The stranger outside seemed like he was on drugs.
He looked like he was agitated about something and paranoid. Mario just kept walking back and forth, start yelling stuff to us. He tries to open my car door. And you know, out of defense, I already knew he had a knife on him. After a few blows was exchanged between me and him, I was getting stabbed in my arm.
Here's the knife police later recovered. Jacob was treated at San Francisco General Hospital. A sheriff's deputy took a report. Police officers went to the scene. A witness pointed Woods out. The shooting would be caught later on cell phone video. Since then, Jacob's life has been in shambles. He's afraid some people may want to harm him because the stabbing led to Woods' death.
My arm may never be the same again. I have nerve damage and all kind of stuff. I have anxiety attacks.
But Jacob says he is the forgotten victim. The victim protesters have forgotten.
And I acknowledge what they're doing. I acknowledge what they're doing. They're trying to get justice and everything, but at the same time, you have to realize that there are victims of black-on-black crimes that I don't feel like they acknowledge.
What also disturbs him, the day of remembrance that the supervisors passed for Mario Woods.
I'm looking at this, I'm looking at a victim of this whole situation, and I haven't got any calls from, I haven't heard anything from those supervisors even acknowledging the fact that, whatever happened.
Drop that knife. Drop that knife, homeboy.
Drop the knife.
Drop the knife, man. Whoa! Did he just shoot at him? He just shot at him. Those are rubber bullets. They're shooting rubber bullets. They're shooting rubber bullets. Those are rubber bullets from a shotgun. Drop the knife, homeboy. Drop that knife, man. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it, bro. Drop the knife. Drop the knife, homeboy. Drop the knife, bruh.
They just killed him like that, dude? That's unnecessary, man. That's fucking unnecessary.
Now, some amateur experts and close-quarter combat connoisseurs have stated that there was no need for cops to shoot a man armed with a knife who had already stabbed someone and was a clear threat to the community. They say the police could have ninja'd through his knife swings and knocked the knife out of his hand, maybe with a long stick or a well-placed judo chop, instead of being shotgun blasted with a beanbag. Oh, damn. I think that may hit a little harder than a kung fu chop. I apologize. It actually says that 2 more non-lethal shotgun blasts were fired at him, and he still didn't surrender. Oh no, I apologize again. It was actually 3 more beanbag rounds. And he was pepper sprayed. And the dude still kept his knife? And he kept walking?
Cocaine is a hell of a...
Not now, Rick. Let me go back to that footage one more time.
That's unnecessary, man. That's fucking unnecessary.
I'm gonna let you finish, but wrong!
But you know what gets me? Nobody's making noise about Samuel Lanham. He was shot by the police this January, 2020. Now, the cops were looking for somebody else when they shot and killed Samuel. They weren't even looking for him. And, unlike Mario, Samuel didn't commit a crime. He had a knife.
Drop the knife!
He got beanbagged.
Beanbag!
And just like Mario, he didn't throw down his knife. And so, yeah, the cops shot and killed Samuel. So why are brothers silent about Samuel? Oh, shit, my bad. Actually, this is Samuel. Well, okay, I hear you say. Maybe the last straw, the one that broke the camel's back, was not a strong case. But we all know cops are hunting black folks, right? This is a known fact. It's like swimming on a full stomach will get you drowned. Or if you have more guns, you will have more murders. Okay, let's look at a database that you would trust. How does WAPO sound? They're just as leftist as any mainstream paper. Let's take the worst case scenario. An unarmed black person shot by police. That looks pretty bad, wouldn't you say? Hands up, don't shoot, right? That's a real problem, right? Now, how high would you expect that number to be in a given year? Go ahead, take a guess. I'll guess with you. There are more than 43 million black folks in America. But we'll go with the most conservative figure. So we'll stick with 43 million. I'm going to go ahead and guess that 1,000 a year get killed when they're unarmed. The calculator tells me that's 0.002%. So it's not 1 out of 100. It's not 1 out of 1,000. It's not 1 out of 10,000. It's 1 out of 50,000. Now that's my guess. Now let's look at the actual figure for last year. Drum roll, please.
I mean, ultimately, it's to bring awareness and make people, realize what's really going on in this country.
So, while I don't condone rioting, and I'm sure you don't either, because for the most part, black people and others that are looting and rioting destructively, they're burning down their own homes.
Oh, they're just burning down their own homes, everybody. False alarm, nothing to see here. My dude, you're seriously going to say some basic bitch shit like that and think you're just going to keep skating like you did your homework? They're only hurting themselves? You think black people are some kind of ant colony? You think they all live in one big hole and eat the same food and share all their shit? Whew, these dudes are going to feel so stupid when they realize that's their own TVs they're stealing. How privileged is this guy to have lived such a long and prosperous life with this amount of brain power?
A housing project that was under construction, intended to provide low-cost housing to older people and really to regenerate this part of the city that had been neglected for many years.
Watching the flames, heartbroken, the pastor whose church raised the money for the project.
Somebody who did this did not understand the investment. Somebody that did this did not understand my heart.
Because black people and hurt people are trying to get the attention of the oppressor. They're trying to raise awareness of the oppression.
The bottom line is, it doesn't matter how right you think you are in destroying, looting, and killing.
This what happened. They out here wilding. Justice for Freddie, man.
That's on you for being a shitty thinker and a worse human being.
They want us all in concentration camps on the real talk.
Today, we found Corboy Bala, who invested his life savings into opening this sports bar, cleaning up. While our camera was there, looters came back to try to steal his safe.
Right, trying to steal the safe.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We're gonna work so hard to get in.
They're burning down their own homes. But when you think about the 5 different stages of grief, you come up to one stage, which is called anger. And sometimes emotions, they don't know their actions. I remember my mom, when I was a child, she lost her sister, and I just remember her yelling and screaming. And I come outside my room and I see my mom throwing herself into a wall, and I'm wondering what happened. And my dad tells me that my mom's sister had died. Thinking back on that, throwing yourself into a wall, it's not gonna change anything. You're actually harming yourself. But sometimes pain and hurt, it doesn't know how to express itself. I realize at any point in time, whiteness can be weaponized.
Whiteness can be weaponized. By that logic, I can say blackness is being weaponized in the riots and lootings. Because you're excusing those actions simply because of their race. You don't mean whiteness is being weaponized, do you? You mean victimhood mentality can be weaponized. It can, sure, if we allow words and feelings instead of facts and evidence to determine our response to that perceived victimhood.
We saw that this past week. Amy Cooper, Central Park, the woman who called the cops on a black man who wanted her to leash her dog because it was illegal to walk your dog without a leash. And she used 2 words that are a death sentence for black people. When she called the cops, she said, "There's a black man who's threatening my life."
Yes, she did call the cops. And what happened to that black man? If her whiteness was weaponized, why wasn't he arrested or killed like your dumbass believes? That's because racists like you and her have these half-baked theories on our society and its law enforcement, and even when they're shown evidence against it, they will bring that up, that evidence, as an example of systemic racism. This bitch was ostracized by society for believing in your fictional world. From the start, everybody laughed at her. So this This is the example you bring up for weaponized whiteness and oppression? A white woman being laughed at by the whole damn country? That's oppression?
When she called the cops, she said, "There's a black man who's threatening my life." Both of those things, as far as when you compile them together, were a lie. Because that black man, he was a bird watcher.
There's a black man who's threatening my life. Both of those things, as far as when you compile them together, were a lie. Because that black man, he was a bird watcher.
Bravo. Bravo.
I live in an affluent neighborhood in Austin, Texas, and if I ever go to my mailbox and I see a white woman walking up to the mailbox, I consciously sit in my car because I don't want her to feel like I'm a threat. If I'm on an elevator with a white person, I try to hit the button first and get off the elevator first because I don't want them to perceive me as a threat because I realize at any point in time, whiteness can be weaponized.
This is what I find entertaining about Acho. He has no idea what he reveals about himself through his anecdotes. So this is how you're making the world a better place. By avoiding social interactions like a pathetic child because of what may go wrong, and then bitching about it on the internet. The way you make society better is you put your big boy pants on and be friendly with your neighbors instead of taking bitter mental notes about how it makes you feel being around them and complain about it online. If you personally aren't doing that bare minimum, then why on God's green earth are you complaining about it? Why the hell are you in front of the screen if you're so ill-equipped as to be utterly incapable of diffusing a mildly tense social situation? Now here we get to my favorite part of the video, where Acho proudly tells us he assaulted a girl with his bike. Go ahead, Acho. Tell us your inspiring story.
I was biking around Lake Austin the other day, and there was a white girl about 15 meters ahead of me. And as I'm on my bike, I say to her, "On your left," because I want to notify her I'm coming so that she can change her course of action. I get 10 meters away and I increase my voice, "On your left," because she had yet to move. I get 5 meters away and she's still there, and I say, "On your left," because I realize if she doesn't change her course of action, there will be a collision. And as I approach her, I yell, "On your left," and we collide. My goal was never to hit her, but because she had her headphones in, she didn't hear me, and so she didn't change her course of action.
So Acho is biking behind a girl who he tells us has her earphones on and can't hear him. So now, how does Acho, the well-adjusted adult that he is, resolve the situation? Does he make sure the coast is clear and bike around her by hugging the left? According to the Austin Parks and Recreation Department, the narrowest path around Lake Austin is 6 feet wide. 6 feet wide, and that's the narrowest part. But we'll give Acho the benefit of the doubt and say that's the part he was in. Now, Acho did his part. He expressed several verbal warnings, and now he's frustrated and filled with righteous anger. And how does Acho channel that anger and frustration? Acho, the man telling us how to better understand one another, feels justified in ramming that girl. Are you surprised? After all, emotions don't know their actions. This ignorant, hateful, violent, petulant, utterly incompetent adult gets in front of the camera and has the gall to tell us that we are racist, that America is the problem. And our gullible masses eat up this idiotic narrative and promise to do better, to placate these bitter and corrosive race hustlers, these opportunists and useful idiots. All this is contributing is adding layers upon layers of distractions that get us further and further away from targeting the real problems. The disintegration of the black family and lack of morals that enable irresponsible, destitute men to father children with countless women. The unacceptable and infuriating crime rates among black youths, twisted and broken by the ineptness or total absence of their pathetic fathers. The sum of their existence amounting to a burden on society. These are gargantuan problems that have been expanding and festering for more than half a century, and they're only getting worse since many of us, but most importantly our politicians, are pretending to be blind to them for the sake of being topical, for seeming proper, for the sake of reaping votes and support by useless community leaders who point accusatory fingers to everyone but themselves and their communities, promoting more ignorance and ensuring the installation of the status quo. Wake up, America. Wake up and smell your failure. It's not systemic racism, it's systemic catering to the Achos of the world.